There are a lot of questions these days on whom we can believe. Often, when someone claims to have views that are science-based, we think the information presented must be true, but not always. So how do we know that the scientist in question doesn't have an agenda? Jonathan Jarry is with the McGill Office for Science and Society. Hi, Jonathan.
Hi.
So, Jonathan, we're going to get to whether we should believe you or not later on, but first, let's start with the cautionary tale of Dr. Michael Greger. He's a well-known science communicator.
He is. I'm sure many of our viewers have watched his videos or visited his website, Nutrition Facts. He is an actual medical doctor. The videos he makes are well produced, they're very clear, they are free of charge. He focuses on nutrition, he goes over scientific studies to see if our knowledge of what to eat has changed. So on the surface, it sounds great.
His particular bias is that he's a vegan, which there's nothing wrong with that, but it does color his views, right? Like, for example, his views on eating meat is really over the top.
Yeah, so he says things that will make people afraid of eating meat, but does not say the same thing about vegetables and salad when the danger is there too. So for instance, he made a video in which he said that raw meat may be contaminated with fecal food poisoning bacteria, and he quoted a microbiologist drawing an analogy between raw meat and hand grenades. And what he doesn't mention is that in the US, where he lives, produce is responsible for almost half of all cases of food poisoning, because lettuce can also be contaminated, right? And in fact, one of Greger's books, How Not to Diet, has many distortions of the scientific literature and misuse of citations, where he's making a study say something that it didn't, because he wants to say that plants are good and meat is invariably bad.
His site is called Nutrition Facts, which sounds credible, and therein lies danger, right?
Yeah, so it used to be called Vegan Research Institute, Inc., according to the IRS. And because he loves plants so much, he will take very weak studies on plants. I mean, studies that he would undoubtedly take apart if they praise the benefits of eating meat. And he holds them up in high esteem. Like, he will tell people with macular degeneration that taking a bit of saffron every day will help them see better. Now, as someone who has worked in low vision rehabilitation research before, including with people who have macular degeneration, if only it were that simple.
So, Jonathan, you are also a science communicator. Why believe you? I mean, what do you do to research your articles?
So that's a great question, right? I don't think that people should blindly believe me or trust only me. We should never trust a single source, because a single source can be wrong. Here's what I do in the work that I do. I go into a topic with an open mind, unless it's something that I know really well. I search for papers, I download them, I read them, often 30 to 40 papers, many of which are review articles. I look for flaws and weaknesses in order to appraise their quality. I try to be aware of my biases. I try to question the studies that agree with me and not just give them a pass. And when I start to see the same evidence and the same conclusions in the literature, I feel confident that this is where the consensus is at the moment, if there is a consensus.
Okay. And what should we be watching out for when we start looking for information on the web?
Who is making the claim? Are they qualified? Are they selling something like a dietary supplement? I'm not selling a product, and neither is Greger, to his credit, because he says that any money that he makes from speaking engagements and book sales is split into two, half to his nonprofit, half to charity. He does have a salary, $200K a year, but he's not selling a supplement, which is a relief. And I would say, look for nuance and look for intellectual humility. When an expert says, I don't know about that specifically, that's usually a good sign.
And I will vouch for you, Jonathan, that sometimes I ask you to talk about topics and you say, no, I wouldn't know enough about that, so I really don't want to talk about it. So you do tell me that.
I say that to a lot of reporters, yes. I know my limits.
Okay. Well, we're very glad to have you. Thank you very much, Jonathan.
Thank you for having me.